The Roman port Niagara is quiet at dawn. It rarely wakes until the early sun flushes the curved valley with golden light. But the port wakes up quickly, and the plaza fills with merchants and farmers, sailors and scoundrels. Barges need rigging, wares need to be traded, food to be sold, and schemes to be done. There are new ships on the horizon. There is much to do. There is no time to play. Welcome to the No Time to Play podcast, a podcast about board games, card games, video games, and all manner of stuff that we don't have time for. I am Scott, one of your hosts, and I am joined by Matt.
Hi.
And the Len.
I am Len.
Excellent. Good day to you both. This is episode 18, Matt?
That is correct.
See?
Yes, there was much rejoicing.
Yeah, and the theme for today is news, as much is happening or will be happening shortly. But before we get into that, Matt, where can our listeners find our wonderful archive of previous content?
Well, Scott, they could go to notimetoplaytoday.com, where all our podcasts post up and any side projects that we're working on, like vlogs that I swear are going to go up any day now. And also some audio essays and stuff like that. Plus we got some video content that we want to do in the horizon. We just need to find time to do it, which we
like
have
those ships.
Like the ships. Also, you can listen to us on iTunes. If you search No Time to Play Today on the iTunes bar, you can leave us comments and reviews there. And if you do that, then it's easier to see us. So please, please, please do that. You can also email any questions to us at notimetoplaytoday@gmail.com. And I also forgot that you can also see a video version of us at YouTube /notimetoplaytoday. Where you can also leave comments and do all YouTube-y type stuff.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. All right. So, as I've alluded to, we are in a nice, beautiful Roman port with tons of ships. But first, those ships on the horizons have arrived with fresh news, fresh and exciting news. So there's sort of two segments to it. The first is that Gen Con happened, which is the ultra-big North American board game bonanza that happens in Indiana every year. So there's some stuff from that. And then we'll lead from there into the other big event for video games, which is that fall is upon us. And usually that's when they start getting the big games out in time for Christmas.
The Christmas video game train is making its stops.
Yeah. Because it can happen closer to Christmas because unlike board games take a while, I guess, because they're made out of cardboard and wood and it takes longer for the trains to get there. They start in August.
The trains are made out of cardboard and wood?
I assume so.
If the trains are made out of
actually, there is a game called Colt Express where you're a bunch of bandits trying to rob a train, and the board itself is a cardboard train, and you move your guys up and down the cardboard train, and you have to see if you have line of sight, and you roll dice or play cards to try to shoot people, and then there's a stagecoach that you get expansion you can buy, and the stagecoach like moves left like beside it depending on how fast the train's going.
That's pretty cool.
It is a pretty cool game.
Wait, in your analogy, Matt,
yep.
Is the train making stops or is it just starting to gather speed?
Well, the video game train always moves. And really, what happens is as it comes from port to port, it just starts throwing games.
Wait, there's trains going to ports?
No. When it goes to...
It's a video game train. I guess anything can happen.
Yeah, that's true. It's a video game train that goes to the ports. And then they just throw it in the lake because they can't throw it on the ground because it could shatter. So they throw it in the lake. And then the video game boats pick up those games and then deliver it to GameStop. And then GameStop... delivers it to the customers.
Well,
which is funny because my job is in supply chain, and so that means I am always right when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's just facts.
It's just facts. Move on, people.
All right then. So I think we'll start with Gen Con. I'll try to do it in a quick news, and you guys can ask questions. So there were 350 games released. I'm not going to talk about all of them.
Oh my god! I thought we were going to have a shorter podcast.
It is. I'm only going to give some highlights because there's some stuff that I'm interested in, and I think people at the table will be interested in. We kind of already talked a bit about Mansions of Madness Second Edition It was released at Gen Con, and so people played it with the app and all that stuff. You can see, well, we don't have content, but other people went to Gen Con and have recorded it. And I think it solves most of our concerns that we had with the first edition. The setup is much faster. It seems to move a little smoother. And the using the app to sort of be the keeper, I think, really strengthens the whole experience. So that was the interesting thing to start with. But
Do you know when that's coming out?
it's out. I think. Well, I'll check the internets. But while I'm checking the internets, the other big bomb that was dropped by the same company was that Arkham Horror is having a LCG similar to Lord of the Rings, where you are all cooperative investigators trying to fight the paranormal. And a scenario. So basically, there's a scenario card that has creatures appear and threats, and then there's like rooms that you move your investigators to up and down to do stuff. And it's a cooperative game, again along the lines of Lord of the Rings, the card game.
Now,
So that
do you
was
also for that card game one? Do you also have like different class decks kind of thing? Like
Yeah, so you would start off with the actually more so than Lord of the Rings, where Lord of the Rings you have three heroes and you kind of mix and match resources and stuff. It seems like Arkham Horror is a bit simpler in the sense that if I am the policeman shooter guy, I have access to certain cards because I'm the policeman shooter guy, and I guess I can customize my deck to be more shooty or more investigative. Whereas I could have someone who is arcane, what am I trying to say? More arcane and book lore stuff. They would have a different access to different cards, and depending on how you play the game, you get experience, which um, allows you to customize your deck as you see fit as you go through all the scenarios.
Now, is that further out as well? That game.
Yes, they're as I understand it, they're both going to be available around Halloween.
Just so you guys know, I'm currently downloading Mansions of Madness app for the second edition.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you can get the app, but now does that app work for the first edition, or is it like?
I would assume it does.
What they're going to do is that you can use your components from your first game, but you need second edition to make it work.
To make it work proper.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool because it's like the components from the first edition are pretty cool looking.
Yeah. I'm just double checking the release date.
People are apparently
People have put
commenting, that the first scenario is okay. The second scenario has some bugs.
Oh, there you go. And people have already put up their
And it says that this
they've already
application-
put up their Gen Con editions are already available for sale for ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah, probably.
There's a little splash screen here that says this application requires the board game Mansions of Madness second edition.
So the app is free?
Yes.
I'm assuming it is because you got it. I wouldn't think that you'd throw bling down on a whim on a game that you can't play yet.
They can't play.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't confirmed the release date, but it looks like it's supposed to be fall. Anyway.
Oh, okay. It seems like an October-y type game because it is a horror type game, right? So
yeah, but we'll have to see when it actually gets on the boat. It's overseas product, so who knows when that'll actually get here. But yeah, the Arkham Horror was the other one.
If it's anything like the video game train, it should be here any minute now.
Should be showing up to port at any time.
You guys do realize that the trains do go to ports, right?
Well, yeah, they go to port towns. They go to the ports because but it's backwards. That's the joke.
Yes. Okay. So and then Arkham Horror was the other one, but the other big Seafall was the other thing that actually came out. And it was available for purchase and it will be available in retail shortly. That's the big legacy game that is supposed to be about pirates, and it's supposed to be quite epic and interesting because it doesn't have it's not like they took a previous game like Pandemic or Risk and made it a legacy game. This is actually completely built from scratch as a legacy
and
game.
it's made from the guy that made those two games, right?
Correct.
Okay, but he's now making his own
standalone, no intellectual property.
And it's about pirates, so it's probably
and it's about
awesome.
pirates. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of I hadn't thought about it before, but a couple of people I've been talking to, both in person and just stuff I've read on the net, is a lot of people are saying that people are falling out of love with these legacy games because you can't just play. Like, so with a board game, normally you get together and you say, we're going to play Deception, or we're going to play Netrunner, or we're going to play whatever. And you just get the pieces out and you can play. Whereas legacy games, it's like, well, don't play without me because I want to see what happens. And
Yeah,
so
and also, sorry, it seems like a half step towards like an RPG, like a tabletop RPG, right?
yeah.
So it's like, well, if you're gonna have stuff like that, then you might as well go all out and go like to the tabletop RPG section. Although that being said, it could be like a gateway to that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of a, yeah, I feel that it might be the future of the RPG rather than the future of board games, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah, they'll simplify, like the tabletop RPGs will simplify to the point where it's more accessible and stuff like that.
yeah, not so much accessible, just that a different way. Like, so because traditionally you had to have there's pen and paper to keep track of everything, and now with these legacy games, you kind of it is a board game experience that you're keep or sorry, a role playing experience that you're keeping track of on paper. Like that's what the Pathfinder card game and all those like kind of dungeon crawl card games are trying to do is get away from having a character sheet and maybe having a character deck or a character board or something like that. So I think that the
Or
we'll
character
see
runes.
runes or whatever. But yeah, the last two big ones, which were intellectual property, big draw. One was the Star Wars Destiny game. They've come out with a new card dice game,
Right.
which which is so you would choose three characters. Like one person picks three dark side characters, one person picks three light side characters, and they come with dice. And then you have a deck of cards, and when you draw cards, if you bring out cards, which you use, you roll the dice like in Ashes for resources and attack and defense as well, and then you use the dice to buy more cards. You bring those cards in, that gives you more dice. Dice Masters is and Quarriors, like there's a bunch of them that exist already, but this is a Star Wars one. And just looking at the demo, it seemed to run pretty smoothly. I don't think I'm interested in getting it because it's a collectible one where you have to kind of buy booster packs to get special dice for different characters like Rey's super staff or
Right.
Luke's hand or whatever he lost. So
Now, is it just strictly 2 players, or can you play 4 players as well?
the demos they were doing were 2 player, so I don't know if it can be multiplayer or not. It hasn't been released yet. It's just it was the big surprise, particularly because there already is a Star Wars card game by the same company,
Yeah,
but the
which
company
kind
is.
of makes it feel like maybe that's on the outs.
Yeah, that was what everyone was concerned about. They assured everyone that no, they were quite happy with the Star Wars LCG as it is. So, but yeah, no, that was an interesting thing. And the last, the last big one, then I have a small one.
Hold
is
on,
Harry
one more
Pot-
question. Sorry, one more question about
Yeah,
that. When is it coming out?
it is to be determined.
Oh, okay. Probably next year though.
I think they're going to try for this year. Is what I think they're going to. Star Wars, Destiny. This is awesome content. I don't know if you can hear my types or not.
I think I hear a little bit.
There's, I have to. There's a Destiny. I forgot there was a Destiny. Hold on. The Threads of Destiny was an action
Well, we
adventure.
can all know that Lenny's gonna be buying all of these card games.
Oh yes.
Joking aside, I would probably argue that the Star Wars Destiny is probably the one that he would be most interested in. It's fast, flows very quickly.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So the two main packs are going to be out soon, like the introduction packs, which
Yeah.
is the Ray pack and the Kylo Ren deck, and then they're going to start bringing out the boosters and stuff.
Well, it's
So,
also kind of cool that they're using this deck game off of the most recent Star Wars parts too. Right?
yeah,
Which is kind
it's
of cool.
gonna yeah it's gonna cover the whole movie universe apparently, all the way from the prequels, so you can have Count Dooku, all the way up to today or the new ones that they're releasing.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I kind
but
of I like it that they're using all of it, even though the prequels were questionable. But the thing about games is that since it's like just a kind of like a theme to it, you can almost like just change it like make it good in your head and in your heart.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
But
oh, here's this guy and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, he was Count Dooku. He was an emperor that was trained by Yoda, and he went bad, and like stuff like that. Like in just the general idea of it is good. It's just it was badly executed in the movies.
yeah. So, but back to the my thing about why Lenny would like it is that it's a shorter game, and it has dice, and it goes fairly smoothly. And watching the demos I've watched, pretty much everyone was picking the game up pretty quickly as they went along because it kind of goes back and forth too. Like one person does an action, one person does an action, one person does action, then it's done, then they reset and they go. So it seems interesting. I don't think I would buy it, but it seemed
See,
interesting.
I would almost think, and this kind of this is not we're not this is the wrong ship to talk about it. But I think Lenny would actually enjoy the Arkham horror one more than this one.
That's true
because
it's
of its
cooperative.
theme and it's cooperative.
And it's cooperative. That's
Yeah,
true.
the cooperative would be an easy sell for me.
Well, Lenny, my last big project might be interested. There is another card game that's coming out, and it's Harry Potter Battling Duels.
Yes.
It is a cooperative game.
I
I think
like
yes.
I think it's a card/board game where you are all wizards at Hogwarts,
I am
Hogwarts.
Ho-
and you're defending it.
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts.
They couldn't get the copyright to Hogwarts.
Yes.
So
And they're defending the school from various crises, problems, monsters, whatever.
That sounds interesting. I'm sold.
Yeah, so
yeah,
you should check
that
it out.
does sound pretty cool, even like for me and stuff, because I like Harry Potter and stuff. So.
Yeah, so you you have each of the wizards, and each of the wizards have certain abilities, and then you have to face different challenges. So it's kind of like the closest one that you guys have probably played to it. It sounds in the spirit of Shadowrun Crossfire, like as in like you have this deck of problems and you're trying to solve it.
Oh, okay. I like Shadowrun Crossfire. It's funny because I got it, but I haven't played my copy of it. I only played the copy we played at Fan Expo. So
We should play it.
we should play it, yeah.
But
We just got no time to play.
we got no time to play. Yeah, so that was the last big one, and then there's a small game that's come out. It's one of those couple games where a couple has designed a game, and I'm such a sucker for those ones. And it's called Lotus, and you are essentially competing insects trying to dominate the flowers of a garden. And
that's cool.
It's an interesting card game where you play petals. You play a card that's a petal on a flower, and if you're the last person to play the petal, you score the flower. You score points for every petal that's on the flower.
Oh, okay.
But each card you play has your insignia, so the ladybugs or the dragonflies or the grasshoppers. And so at the end, when a flower scores, you count up, and whoever has the most of their symbol can unlock acquire a power from their house. So like the grasshoppers have certain abilities, and then the ladybugs have.
So
Just
like
go ahead.
if you're like the last, like let's say I'm the ladybugs, right? And then I get the last petal, so I score the points from that. But if someone like the grasshoppers had more things to it, they would unlock abilities from their own stuff. But so I would still get victory points, but they would get.
Yeah, so say I'm the grasshoppers and I have 3. Even though you're the last one, you're going to score 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
But say when you put yours on, 2 of them are mine and 1 of them are Lenny's ants.
Mm-hmm.
I win area control for that flower, so I get powers even though you scored the points.
Okay.
So you score points, which helps you get towards the goal of winning the game. But I'm building up powers to do different tricks so that I can get points elsewhere. So it's
that seems to add like a really kind of cool element to it, because it's like I'm assuming it's most victory points wins, right? But like you have to be careful, because if even though you're getting points, you might not necessarily be getting powers that will get you points down the road.
Exactly. So I want to get it. It's on my definite. I like the theme. It's like, I think and it's also it seemed very intuitive to play from watching the demos. And yeah, it looks pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And also, when is it coming out?
It is out now.
Oh, wow. Everyone go to the stores to grab it right now.
I'm
Well,
already ordering it on Amazon.
I believe it's out now. And then that it is a card game, that Harry Potter one. I did confirm. I just did a quick check. So
Oh, okay.
so
Cool.
anyway,
So that's a lot of card games from Gen Con.
well, there's a lot
Well,
of
there's a lot of games in general at Gen Con, but
yeah.
we
I could get into the Euro stuff, but I thought I would hold off on that because Psy also had its big release at Gen Con as well. But we've already played Psy, so well, some of us have played Psy.
I want to.
Oh, I have one more thing. Sorry, this is okay, and then I'm gonna stop so we can talk about video games. they teased what the spiritual successor of Blood Rage is going to be. Eric Lang has designed, and it's going to get put on Kickstarter in early 2017. It's called Rising Sun, and it is like Blood Rage, where he basically said if Blood Rage is like taking Risk and turning it into a Euro, like that experience that he created with Blood Rage, if if its ancestor is Risk, then the ancestor of Rising Sun is diplomacy. And so you're still trying to control Japan, but what the premise is that the medieval demons and gods of Japan mythology have come back to Japan, and they're not happy with how things are since they've been gone, and they want to change it. So basically, you're playing daimios, and you have to make alliances with people each turn, and you're trying to control and control this medieval Japan. And you can break alliances, but there's also an honor track. So if you break your word, your honor goes down.
Oh, okay, that's pretty
And
cool.
the figurines look amazing, almost like just like the same artist from Blood Rage.
Blood Rage, yeah.
Is being used to do the Rising Sun, and it looks really cool. And he says he's 95% done it, and then the Kickstarter will come up once he's done.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. What we can do when the Kickstarter comes out, I can even link it to our podcast, and people can check it out if they want.
So I prattled on about cardboard tokens and stuff. So there are Euros, but I'm going to be good. I've talked enough. So
we could talk about Euros on another. And also, we're going to, like, the next ship, I do believe we're talking a little bit of some Euros.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, so oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead into video games.
Okay, so pretty much the major note of a video game that has just come out on this past Tuesday, August 9th, is a game called No Man's Sky. Actually, I think it's coming out on the 12th on PC. It had to be delayed a couple days because of servers stuff and a few things. But I actually bought this game because I have no willpower, and I've played a little bit of it, and I gotta say, it's pretty cool. So
well, it sounds like it's up my alley because like it sounds like from what I've heard of reviews, it's just exploring. Like,
yeah.
You know
okay. So Scott, just picture this. What's your favorite part of Minecraft?
Oh, when I go wandering.
Yeah, when you go watering. This game is literally just that. It's like you go.
But who saves me?
Well, no one, because that's the thing. The game is so huge because it's all procedurally generated, and although there was. Apparently there was a big deal that actually two people managed to find each other in the game, but the universe is so huge and so vast that
did they hug or did they fight each other?
I don't know. I just heard. I didn't get to the story, but I just heard that two people managed to find each other in No Man's Sky, which was kind of cool. Like, it was kind of a cool thing because the game is so huge. It's like when you look at the galaxy map, there's so many stars, and you can go to any of those stars. Like it's like you look at the sky and you see all these crazy stars, and then you could just go there.
So is there any crafting or
there's a little bit of crafting. So like I'll paint a scene for you that happens at the beginning of it. So pretty much the game starts and it kind of warps you in, and it puts you on this planet, and the planet. You wake up and you're usually like, I woke up in a cave right beside my ship, and my ship is crash landed. So my hyperdrive, or sorry, not my hyperdrive. I don't have one yet. My pulse thrusters and all that have been damaged. So I have to go explore the planet that I've crashed on, and I gather materials. You have a mining laser that can break down anything to its elemental component. So like there's these crystals that you break down and they become plutonium, or if like there's there's a vegetation that will break down into carbon, and depending on those are energy type things, and depending on what you have, like for example, my thrusters only take plutonium. They don't take any other type of energy. And then, but my
Oh,
life
is it
support,
so is it like Subnautical?
I've never played that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Um,
Continue.
so I have a spacesuit, my exosuit, and it can get damaged, or I have life support in that system as well that needs energy. So I have to keep making sure that I get. Usually, what I do, because there's the planet. It was kind of like a winter snow planet that I was on at first, and so I gathered trees and vegetation, and I used that carbon to keep my life support system going. And the problem that I had is that my suit, my exosuit, couldn't handle the cold of night on the planet. Like it could for a short period of time. So every so often I would have to go out, I would gather some things to try to fix my ship, and then it would say my suit was getting damaged because it was getting too cold. So I had to jump back into my ship because the ship worked still. It just couldn't fly yet.
Yeah, the life support systems work just.
I had to go into the thing, and then it would tell me the temperature, and then it would slowly bring my suit back up to full, and then I would go back out. So like, during the daytime it lasted a lot longer because the sun was out, and it was still like I think it was like negative like 50 degrees Celsius, which is fine. But like as soon as night dipped, it went like below negative 100. So I was like, oh crap! So my suit was like not doing too well, so I was gathering stuff and I managed to fix my ship. And then I took off from the ship and I left the atmosphere, and then it opens up the whole like solar system to you, but there's no loading times. It just does it. And then I was like, okay, well I'm going to go to the next planet over. So I went over to the next planet over, and it was like a desolate planet. It was just a moon planet, but the I could walk around there forever. There's no vegetation, but and no animals because there's no life on it. But I can gather iron and materials for like to try to like better my ship and stuff like that. So like it's all about exploring, and it's about there's a simple crafting system to increase the abilities of your suit and all that stuff, so you can go out and explore more. So
Yeah,
that's the loop.
Yeah, so it sounds more like a proper what am I trying to say?
It
Like
sounds
a proper it's more survival, like it's like more survival. Like it's not like I'm going to build a castle on this planet.
Yeah,
blah,
it's
blah, blah,
not
blah,
like
blah.
that at all. Yeah, you don't.
It's like
You
no,
don't really
it's like
build
I'm
anything.
actually trying. It's like more the Martian, I guess,
Yeah.
than Robinson
Or
Crusoe.
Carrie was saying that it's like when I was explaining it to her, it seemed like it was like Mule,
Ooh,
because
yeah.
there is an economy in the game too. So like I found, that was another thing. Okay, so when I went to the second planet, it was a desolate planet, but it seemed like there is I was finding these things of that there's like once an ancient civilization on the planet. So because it looks like there was a survey team there before, because I found some of their stuff as I was rummaging through. And then from rummaging through that, there was like down like this one section, there was like it looked like an old broken down temple. And then so I went into the temple, and there was a knowledge module there, and I learned a word from an ancient Gek language. And it seems and then when I went up to the space station, there was an alien on the space station speaking Gek, but I didn't understand him.
Oh, it almost sounds like Starflight.
Oh, what's Starflight?
Starflight was this old computer game I played on the Commodore 64, and it came with you basically have a ship, and you have to make sure you have certain resources, and you also have cargo space to take stuff that you can sell to other planets and
Yeah,
such.
that's so far exactly the same.
And then you fly. Sometimes you have to have weapons, because sometimes you would meet hostile aliens that would try to damage your ship, and then you would land on the planets, and then you would mine material and put it on your ship, and then you would fly to different spaceports.
That sounds exactly the same.
I'm all for it, because Starflight was an excellent game.
Yeah,
so this sounds really
it's
good.
just great. Like it's funny. I've just dabbled into it a little bit. Like I literally spent, I think I spent longer trying to fix my ship than a regular person would, because the way my planet was. So like I think like other people that had like a warmer planet, that didn't need to go back to their ship as
Oh,
much as I did.
so you're saying like Lenny is like on tropical island. And he's
Like if
all
Lenny
like,
was on Tropical
it's
Island,
so
it would take no
nice.
time at all to get out. But since I was on a harsher planet, it took me a longer time to find the materials and gather it and stuff. And like you get like I guess there's economy that you're explorers, so you're getting money.
Yeah.
You get money when you find different things. So it's like oh I've scanned this vegetation for this planet, so you get some money for that, and you scanned this animal, and you can rename anything. Like everything that you discover, you can rename.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like and like so, I named the Mattias system. Was the and so I discovered Mattias 1 and Mattias 2. And then if I move to another system, I'll call it something else. But I'm being like, you can make it so you can. The object of the game is to make it to the center of the galaxy, and there's like apparently kind of like a thing there. Like there's something at the center of the galaxy is the ultimate answer to the universe or whatever. So, but I'm kind of going a little bit more meticulous because there's waypoints and things you can discover on each of the planets. So I'm kind of meticulously going through every planet. So I've discovered 2 planets and then and a space station. So I'm kind of going through and figuring out what I can do. I'm not trying to, because the game, since it's so open, can get overwhelming very quickly. So I'm just trying to make it so I'm meticulously going through one planet, then the next and stuff, and then I'll expand from there. And as I get more comfortable with the game, then I'll venture out further.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah,
Now
it's
does
very
Lenny
cool.
does Lenny have this game?
I do not.
All right.
Well, I told Lenny, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna get that. It's a full price game. I gotta wait a little bit.
You boycotted it.
I didn't boycott it.
As I was at work today, I'm like, I bet you Matt bought that game.
and then I did. It was funny because I was like, I'm not gonna get. And I watched one live stream of it, and like as soon as he got into his ship and he left the atmosphere, and then it opened up what was up there, and I was like, oh man, I have to get this game. So, but it's a lot. It seems like it's a lot of fun. But yeah. Anyway, that's just one game that's already out. We'll quickly go through the others. Just a few things of note that are for the rest of the year. There's Deus Ex: Mankind Divided coming at the end of the month. Which is the next Deus Ex one, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys played Human Revolution at all, or the original.
No.
But yeah, those are fun games. They're kind of like the thinking man's first-person shooter.
I do have Human Revolution, I believe.
What else we got here? September, Recore is coming out, which looks interesting, but I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be that great. That's the one that's for the Xbox and PC. It's the guy that made Mega Man. He's making it. We also got Final Fantasy 15, which I'm super happy about.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I'm going to play that quite vigorously, so I'll be telling you all about it in October. In the October podcast, I might even make a separate show because I'll be rambling too long about it. But yeah, Final Fantasy 15 that's coming out. That's cool. Gears of War 4 is coming out. Battlefield 1, Civilization 6, and Last Guardian are all coming out in October. Which Civilization 6, that's probably the one I'm most excited about because I love those games so much. The Civ games are so deep. And then there's like Call of Duty and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's actually looking up to be a pretty good video game fall. Dishonored 2 is another one that's coming out. Gravity Rush 2, that's another cool one that I'm excited about as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the fall ones. I kind of quickly went through the other ones because we were talking about No Man's Sky for so long, so...
All right.
Well, I'll wrap it up just by I'm treating that list like we treat our topics, heavy on the first one, and then blast through the others.
All right. Okay. So those are the ships that are, Lenny. Is there anything you would like to add?
I'm just looking at the list of things that I have on my wish list on Amazon. and most of them are still ways out. So I'm gonna say Matt's got it covered pretty good.
All right. And Matt, you knew that the Anime Network is having a pre-show for your Final Fantasy 15 movie?
Like the Kingsglaive movie?
Yeah.
The anime. Which place? What are you talking about?
The official website of the Square Enix full feature feat Kingsglaive announced last Friday. Well, there's an old article, but anyway, this is from July that the film will get a TV special in Japan before the film's opening in Japan.
Oh well,
It's
okay.
called the Final Fist 15 Universe Report, which apparently will be available in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is streaming the English trailer and will reveal the opening at select theaters in the U.S. August 19th. Yeah.
But well, by the next episode, we can even talk about Kingsglaive because we'll have seen it by then.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We might not be able to because our Canadian boys don't have access to all the crazy.
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything. But anyway,
if not next episode, it'll be the one after because I do believe it comes out digitally on August 30th.
That is correct.
So so if we don't see it on the 19th, we'll see it by then.
On an unrelated note, Spyfall is totally on sale for $14.
I own Spyfall.
I don't.
No, Spyfall. That was the one when we play. It was the party game, right, where you played as the spy and you're trying to figure out where you are.
Yes, on a space station.
On a space station, yeah. All right, Scott. What's the next ship?
Okay, so back to our schedule. So we've decided we're done talking to these yahoos that have just shown up to port. They're off to do their business. So we've turned away from them and we're walking across the plaza and we see some drunken sailors stumbling out of the public rooms, like where they've been drinking and sleeping and such, searching for their ships. So this is just a quick. This was just we put this in real quick to wrap up because there were sort of we didn't talk about Blood Rage from
yeah. So this is wrapping up our game summit that we had.
I was going to mention Scythe, but Tony unfortunately is not available because I wanted to let him know that there are no dice in Scythe, and I feel that would be a game for him.
Right, but, and I think you were the only one that played Scythe in this group too, right? So
yeah. So we'll just real quick with Blood Rage. Blood Rage is a very
amazing.
It is a very good game. It is
so
very
good.
It's
I'm
very deceptive.
hype manning it.
Because you think, oh, I've got a war game because of all these little plastic figurines. But it's not really a war game.
Well, it can be if you want it to be.
It can be, but it's actually it's a weird hybrid because it's about area control if you got quest cards, but it can also be about fighting if you've got warrior cards in your hand. It can be about dying if you have dying things,
which is a good strategy, which I did.
So the premise is that you're a group of Vikings at the end of the world. Ragnarok's happening, and to get into Valhalla, you need to make sure you have the most glory. And so each round is broken into three parts. The first part is a card drafting, where each people are dealt so many cards by a number of players. You look at the cards, you pick one, you put it in front of you, like face down, and then you hand the cards to your left. And as you do the drafting, you're coming up with your strategy to get the most points that round. Then the second phase is that you execute. You have a bunch of points called rage points, and you spend them to put people out, to have them move, to start fights, to complete quests, etc. And you use those to try to maximize your points, hopefully complementing what you have in your hand. And then there's a cleanup phase at the end. Once the round ends, when things have been all the villages have been pillaged around the base of the world tree, and then you repeat a couple rounds, and then at the end, whoever has the most points, most glory, basically wins the game. It's interesting too because there's different strategies as well. As Matt has alluded to, I won't get in. He can discuss it further as a dying strategy, but there's sort of three stats for your clan. There's rage, I guess. All clans have rage, but there's also like glory from battle. So if you raise that stat doing various things, you get more points by killing other people's players. Then there's also
horns was the third stat.
Yeah, horns
that's how many people you can have on there.
Yeah, and so you can just push out tons and tons of people, so that you can just dominate all things. Because once an area is full, because each region has circles on it to indicate how many people can be in there. Once you've filled a region, nobody can go there because it's full, which is kind of the Euro control thing. Like the worst thing you can have is if there's three spaces and you filled two of them, you've left it open so that somebody else can move something in there and try to attack you. So yeah, it was I was really impressed with that game. Like
Also, it's gorgeous. Like the figurines for it are amazing.
yeah.
They have not just the Viking warriors and stuff like that, but the monsters that are coming out that came out with it are amazing too. Like I think it would be great. Like what would be awesome? I don't know. Were we talking about, or was that Mansions of Madness? Where if they came out with another one, it would be great to use those figurines for.
That was
Like,
Mansions of Madness, but Rising Sun is the other one they're coming out with, but it will be Japanese themed and
so
will
it
have
won't.
its own
They
figure.
won't. It won't. Yeah, it won't come over. But it would be cool if they made a second, like do the Mansions of Madness.
Oh,
thing.
there is a Blood Rage expansion.
Oh, wow, well, and
Uh,
that's pretty sweet.
I can tell you the name of it. Lenny, did you have any questions about our Blood Rage experience? Because I don't.
You
You
didn't.
weren't.
Yeah, you weren't.
I didn't even see it or play it, so
No, it was really cool. The thing about it was funny because like I had a strategy of it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kick everyone's butt and that's how I'm gonna win this game. So on round one, I was getting cards that were doing that, but I ended up sucking at it and I couldn't do it. So I was like, man, I'm getting annihilated here. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
And
essentially.
then
Oh, go ahead.
and then I noticed, I'm like, wait, I can get points by dying if I change my strategy up. So the second phase, I changed it so it's like, it was like, because Loki is like the trickster. So every time I lost a battle or anytime anybody would die, I would get points or like I would do these things that would make it so losing and like losing battles or dying were actually giving me tons of points and stuff like that. And I came back, I was still last just because I made this mistake in phase two.
Well, you and
But
I were both.
I
and I were
really
both at
came
the-
back from being really far behind. So.
Yeah, you and I were both at the bottom because we were the guys who did the big experiment of what is it like to punch each other,
Yeah.
and it ended up we scored almost no points in the first round, whereas Ian and Mike watched us make fools of ourselves, and they scored a whole bunch of points, and then we just struggled to catch up.
Yeah.
surprised Mike wasn't one of the ones that were trying out the punching.
He lucked out because I think he was preparing to do it.
He also was the last person to go.
Yeah.
So he
So-
learned from our mistakes.
Because it goes around, each person gets one action. So just Matt happened to go first, and just by the time a fight was ready to happen, Matt and I were the first people that could do it. So that was the only reason Mike didn't get into a fight right away. It was because he saw how it worked, and he was like, "Oh," and so he was able to. Him and Ian sort of rethought their strategies based on the fact of how badly it went for us. Because essentially, it's a bluffing game where you commit your forces. Each force has a value. Like a regular guy is worth 1 point, but monsters can have like 4 points. You add up that total, and then you can play one card from your hand. And those cards have certain powers. But when you tie, I think we tied, didn't we, Matt?
No, oh yeah, I think we
Yeah,
tied.
if
Yeah,
you
and no one gets
tie-
it.
We all die, and nobody gets any glory or any points. So, and also, sorry, I think we got glory, but we didn't because we tied. But
Yeah.
glory at the beginning of the game, you don't get a lot of battle glory until you've raised your axes or your battle glory stat. So it is an aggressive game, and there is a lot of fighting, but you need to be a smart Viking, not a dumb Viking. You need to think about what you're going to fight, who you're going to fight before you actually fight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, it was really well done.
yeah, it had a bit of a chessy element to it as well. Like Ian and Mike were dancing around each other a lot because they were in such a better position than us because they hadn't lost all their resources in the first round in a pointless fight. And but by the end of it though, Matt had dominated one area and was trying to keep allow his bear people to die there and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I was all about being killed by Ragnarok. That was like the last stitch effort to get points. And I ended up getting like 40 points that round, which is quite impressive.
yeah. But yeah, I think we can put off the side discussion.
Yeah, we'll talk about Scythe when we get the other guys here.
yeah,
'Cause
'cause
Shane
it-
played Scythe too, right? So.
No, he played Runebound with you.
Oh, right. He played the Marathon Runebound game.
Marathon Runebound. Okay, so moving on to the next ship. The next ship is okay. So we're done with those sailors. We're like, you know what? We've talked to you enough. We've had enough of you guys.
We had enough of your filth.
And then we walk down and we see a beaten up ship of Anger, Blood, and Betrayal, and that would be the card game dilemma. And it's just a quick update for me because I surprisingly have not talked about it on the podcast for a while.
What?
I don't think so. I don't think
Really?
I talked
Oh,
last
okay.
time.
I just assume every podcast we talk about
I know. I thought we did as well, but I guess.
we took a hiatus from it. Oh, yeah, because we were talking about Roombound so much probably last time.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so real quick. Well, some of it has been solved for me. Doomtown is officially not happening. There's an article on our website if you want to see my deep emotional feelings about it. So it's essentially
and by article on the website, we mean really soon that article is going to be on that.
Well,
website.
unless someone's listening to this in 2017, it'll be there.
Oh, okay. Yep. Hey, 2017 guy.
Yeah. Or
just
girl.
Go to that website, or girl, doesn't matter.
Or robot.
Yeah, or robot. You can just download into your brain the article.
But yeah, so it's sort of solved itself as essentially a closed system. Like I have a couple more packs to buy or get as gifts, and then I've got the whole set, and then I can treat it like a board game, which probably will be more interesting to do. But so that sort of solved itself as far as like I'll just treat it as a board game that I probably won't get to play very often, but still.
But you have it just in case.
I have it. Thrones. I'm gonna do one more. I had another game with Shane. I went on the internets and I found an article saying that if you take 2 cores, you can build one good deck for each of the clans not clans, houses, families.
Families, yeah.
And so I've done that, and we tried one. So he was the Night's Watch, and I was Baratheon. I won, but it wasn't. He realized, we talked about it afterwards, and he says, I don't think it was because of the deck. I think he said the deck flowed well and gave me answers, and I could do stuff. He says he felt more it was he misplayed, and his misplay wasn't like I played a card wrong. It was more just his general strategy. He was turtling too much. Like he would keep getting points on the wall, but he wasn't being aggressive enough with his challenges on the thrones. So I was getting away with a lot more than I should have. Like I was, I was able to do a lot more challenges because I had more people out, because he wasn't sending his guys out to, like, he wasn't doing military challenges to kill off my guys.
I feel that because it's a 4-player game as well, right?
Yes.
So I feel that the Night's Watch would probably benefit greatly from a 4-player game instead of a 2-player game.
I disagree, only because of the way the wall works. Because the wall works as long as the 3 challenges you face are unopposed.
Okay.
So the thing is, it was one of those awkward situations because I'm trying to figure out the game, right? But I'm like looking over and I look at his board and I'm like, I think he could beat me. But he would keep saying, I'm not going to do any challenges. Like, I want to leave everyone standing. And I was like, I don't think that's the right strategy. I think he should have poked at me a bit more. He's like, well, you had tons of guys. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to remember, in Thrones, it's more a matter of just picking away at a guy and, doing intrigue challenges to empty their hands to, it's a drawn out sort of thing. So anyway, I would like to give a chance for you to try it. Maybe when I'm up, this doesn't matter the podcast, but we'll have sort of a marathon just to go through a couple of the decks just so you can try it and you can decide.
I'll give it another go, but
yeah,
I feel like I've made my choice for my card game thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I would like to try some more Ashes. So right now I would say it's between Ashes and Netrunner, Ashes, and Conquest would be the ones that are leading in that.
I do have a fondness for Conquest, but I don't think I would get it.
Dem orcs.
Well, you mean the Tau? That's
that's true. The Tau. Oh, they've got some good stuff too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just a quick update. I think after Fan Expo, I'll probably make my decision as I lead into the fall as well. But that was just a quick update. I don't know if you guys have any questions about the card game dilemma. Lenny, I know, loves all those games I've discussed.
Lenny's like, hey, I have a question. Have you set all of your cards on fire?
I have a question about Netrunner. When is it done?
Well, it's had an interesting. I thought I was going to be giving up on Netrunner just because of the way the game was going, but the new designer has shaken it up. He's restricted a bunch of cards and has changed a lot of, clarified a bunch of rules, and has made the game. And his first pack came out, and it just has made the game much more interesting.
Now, do you think it's is it going to be the way of what first edition Game of Thrones happened, Like,
Oh no,
is Netrunner getting too bloated?
no.
Oh, okay.
What has happened is that the game was getting bloated,
Hmm.
and the previous designer was very conservative, and so a lot of the problems from core still existed, and the game was like 4 years old. So people would go to tournaments and they would see a large number of the cards are still from the core set, which is nothing wrong with that because you want your core set cards to be powerful.
Hmm.
But there would just be these not necessarily it's kind of it's boring decks, not necessarily broken decks, just boring decks. Like people would bring a very powerful deck that was boring to play against. And
Oh,
so
okay, I get you.
like so I would go to tournaments and it'd be like I would play the same NBN deck, I would play the same Jinteki deck. Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone was
There
playing.
wasn't room for experimentation.
Well,
Like,
I would be, yeah, people like me who experimented just get punished. Like
yeah, because there's
and it's
it's easy to min max or something like that,
yeah.
really.
And so it was generating this boring play, and a lot of people are kind of like, I'm not, they kind of lose interest. So what he's done is basically just smack down on those decks, and is trying to make it so that other types of players can enjoy the game. Not that you're necessarily, oh, now this other types of decks are going to be supreme. It's more like, no, you have to be a good player, but now any deck has a chance. Like that's the thing about Conquest. Like when you play Conquest with me, the thing I like about Conquest is that there's a sense that they're all close. Like yes, the Dark Eldar
Mhm.
sort of have an edge, but all the decks have a chance of winning.
Yeah, I feel like it's you have that nervous tension through it because it's like I could win or could lose. Like but you have that through the whole thing. The
Mm-hmm.
problem with like other games, like for example Game of Thrones, like with the starter decks and stuff like that, I didn't have that nervous tension because it was just like, oh yeah, I'm losing real bad, and I can't turn this around at all. And then the game keeps going. You're like, yep, still losing, right? And I feel Netrunner is kind of like that sometimes too, because you can't get anything going and stuff like that.
Yeah, the
But
one thing I'll say about Netrunner is there is much like Doomtown, the Hail Mary. Like
yeah,
I'm just gonna run, and I'm gonna waste all my cash and resources, and I'm gonna run, and hopefully that's an agenda. It's
and
not.
the game's gonna end one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but Lenny loves the Netrunner, so I think we should leave that ship. The ship that is never resolved, never really knows where it's going.
Yeah.
And
Since Tony's not here, I don't think we will talk about the next
okay,
topic. We're going to talk about D&D, but I feel like that by the next time we're going to have another session because we have our D&D group that we have. So we'll talk about that
okay. Well,
at a
why?
later episode, I think.
Sure. Well, why don't we wrap up then? We'll go
Yeah.
to the harbor master's office, and we'll just wrap up just a quick round about what everyone's been playing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We'll start with Lenny. Lenny,
Yes.
what have you been playing?
Um, I'm gonna say the last thing I played was I haven't been playing anything.
Well, I don't know, Lenny. We actually left just before we started this podcast
Yeah.
to play
Okay. Yeah.
something.
A little bit of Pokemon Go, but until dawn, I guess. But I haven't played it for over a week, I think. Um, and that Pokemon Go, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Until Dawn, like you should probably get back into that because it is.
I stopped playing after I'm like, is it possible not to kill anyone? And then I found out it was, and then I'm like, I'm doing terrible. I'm pretty sure I've killed like 3 characters already.
Also, I'm not gonna spoil stuff. Characters that you think are dead might not be dead. That's another thing too. It does throw those twists and turns in as
I
well.
gotcha.
So like you might think you're doing bad, but like there'll be points where it's like, oh okay, but I don't. I think half of my people died at the end of it. There's eight kids in total, and I made it through with 4 at the end. It's really hard to get everybody alive.
No doubt, because the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything terribly wrong.
Yeah.
There was that scene. I don't know if I should spoil it, but there's a scene where
Well, we can just say, "Hey, spoiler alert."
yeah,
Don't.
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
There's a scene with a rotary saw, and
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to choose between one of two people,
yeah.
and I accidentally chose the one I didn't want to choose. But
Who'd you end up?
uh, who's the guy that owns the house?
Josh.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally killed Josh.
yeah. Well, you know what? I still think you should keep going because it's a very unique game, and made by a studio that um, doesn't make games like of that caliber. So they really extended themselves for it. So
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to see it.
yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah. Scott, what about you?
I have been. Well, I played that Thrones game,
Yep.
and then I played. I've been working through Alice: The Madness Returns. I'm now at the final boss, the doll maker, and so I hope to get that done soon. And I played a bit of Wolves Among Us,
Nice. How far are you in
and
Wolf Among Us?
oh, I'm only through episode 1 because I've
Oh,
been
okay.
working on Alice.
So
And
your heart has been crushed at the end.
oh, oh, I don't believe. I don't. I think. I don't think that it's legit. I think there's magic involved and possibly the headless horseman. So,
There's magic afoot
wow.
in this fairyland.
I'm also, unfortunately, this is where comics ruin everything. I already know that Snow White is still alive in Fables. So,
Oh, yeah.
oh, it's if they'd done
Hopefully,
it.
hopefully we're not spoiling too much for the.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
If anything, it'll just make a lot of people want to play it.
Yeah, that's true. I fully recommend Wolf Among Us. It's actually from a Telltale game. Um, it is one of the most interesting ones. However, perfect segue, and a controller just fell off my table.
All right.
Perfect segue is that the first episode of the Batman Telltale series came out, and I played it, and it was really good. I think Scott. I think once all the episodes come out, you should play it because it is playing a Batman character that, like, that you're like it's like kind of right up your alley. He's like it's detective work.
It's Detective Batman. Okay.
Yeah, it's Detective Batman.
Yeah.
There's like one scene like near the beginning to kind of like he does like fighting and stuff like that, but the rest of it is like okay, this is Detective Batman. Like it's great, and you have the option to also play, like there's Bruce Wayne scenes as well, and like they've changed some things up and stuff like Harvey Dent's running for mayor and stuff, and
Harvey Dent ran for mayor all the time in Batman.
does he? Okay, all right. I don't know Batman as much as you do, so yeah, he's running for mayor, and you're kind of like funding him and kind of being his buddy about it, and then it's like, and so there's that kind of stuff, and like it's really cool. Like it's a really well done. Like I believe it's a well done story. It reminds me of like it's up to the caliber of Wolf Among Us, although it's like a Batman story instead. So I recommend that. That was kind of mine. Is there anything else you're playing, Scott?
No, I haven't had a chance. Oh, I did. Other than chess, I've been playing the Magnus Carlsen app, chess app, where you can play his age. So,
And are
if
you like where are you at with him?
I'm fighting the 9-year-old, and I've got to up my chess game. So the problem is that the earlier levels, like I'm good enough at chess that even when I'm tired, I can beat 5-year-old Magnus because he's not very good.
Mhm.
But then I got to 7 and I had a bit of trouble, so I couldn't. I had to stop and think for a minute and then play and stuff. But now I'm at 9 and and each one tells you what he's doing at that age. And I was like, oh, he's now playing with people. He's like playing with one like the world champion. Like he's starting to learn, like take lessons, and he's reading books on chess openings and stuff. So I have a bit of trouble. It's
That's such
yeah.
a cool idea for a chess game, though. Like to actually make it so you're playing a chess master, like
By age is what
by
I
age,
find.
like through his life. It's like, and that's the perfect graduation to it, right? Like,
Yeah. So, needless to say, I back to the drawing board. Got a bit more thinking I need to do on it and practice. But yeah, that's about it actually. So
oh, that's good. Well, for me, I've already talked about 2 of the 3. I talked about Batman Telltale just now, and we talked about No Man's Sky earlier, and that's pretty much the main 2. However, there's always that Final Fantasy game. And I was playing Final Fantasy 14, and I actually, with my new character that I had, I have made it. I've beaten the original 2.0 series. So I've beaten that part, and now I'm about halfway through the mid tier, because the way MMOs work, and at least the way this one has, it has a main number series, so 2.0. Then it has supplemental stories that kind of get you in between 1 to the expansion. So like it went up to 2.5. So I'm around 2.2, 2.3. Right now, and then once I beat that, then I can actually start the first expansion and get through that storyline, and then get through all of its new content as well. So that's pretty much where I'm at for there, and it's been really good, and everything's great.
Okay.
Everything's wonderful. Final Fantasy's great.
Everything is awesome.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess we will wrap it up. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And also just remember a friendly reminder to see us at notimetoplaytoday.com, or email us at notimetoplaytoday@gmail.com, or go to iTunes or YouTube, search for No Time to Play Today, and leave comments and all that stuff. And as soon as we start getting those, we'll try to squeeze in some viewer questions or listener questions into our podcast to help get some community involvement and do cool stuff like that, because I think that would be kind of cool for the show.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
The sun is setting. The ships have been secured and the plaza is lit with lanterns. The darkness envelopes the valley, but the public bathhouses and inns, business is being done. Now is the time for deals, proposals, and schemes. There's much to be won. There's no time to play.